Look who's back again. It's time for another edition of the Kauffman Corner. Of course, David Lesky from Inside the Crown, Soren Petro with you. And we welcome again Rany Jazayerli. We said he was not gone forever. He'd be here from time to time making some bold and daring predictions with us here on an opening day. We, of course, we taped this a little bit earlier, but still the bold and daring predictions for opening day are there. Again, they are bold and daring predictions. They are not likely and should be expected predictions, okay? Any putts can do that. Only here on the Kauffman Corner Podcast do you get bold and daring predictions. So expect these things to be like, wow, I don't think that's probably going to happen. That's right, because it's a bold and daring prediction right here on the Kauffman Corner Podcast.
You're listening to the Kauffman Corner Podcast, the most in-depth analysis of the Kansas City Royals, breaking down the Royals like no one else can. Kauffman Corner is hosted by David Lesky and Soren Petro. David Lesky is an accomplished author and the publisher of the Inside the Crown Royals baseball newsletter. Soren is the award-winning afternoon drive host of the program on Sports Radio 810 WHB in Kansas City. Kauffman Corner is proudly brought to you by Gann Asphalt and Concrete, Kansas City's nationally recognized full-service paving and pavement maintenance contractor, making parking lot problems disappear in Kansas City since 1994. Free consultations, no commissions, in-house crews, and every project comes with a written warranty. Find them online at GannAsphalt.com or call 816-484-3338. Gann Asphalt and Concrete, one contractor, all things parking lot. Now, here are your hosts, David Lesky and Soren Petro.
All right, thank you very much, Curtis. We do appreciate it. Off and running. Bold and daring predictions. These are a labor of love. We always enjoy them. We definitely enjoy looking back at them, which we will do at the end of the season. We're going to do just a regular draft. Rany, David, me. Rany, David, me. So that we can't all three have the same bold and daring predictions. So we have prepared many, many bold and daring predictions for you. But Rany, you need not wait for anything. You don't have to worry. Whatever bold and daring prediction you want to make, you get to make. Where do you lead us off, buddy?
I appreciate the hospitality and letting the guests go first.
That's right.
So yes, I'm gonna start us off hot. On the one hand, it's bold and daring. On the other, you could argue it's tepid and safe. I'm going to say the Royals hit 200 home runs and smash the franchise record for home runs in a season, which is currently 193. 200 home runs from the Kansas City Royals. Again, bold and daring. This is the Kansas City Royals we're talking about. On the other hand, they hit 159 last year. And if you look at the breakdown from MLB.com, the great Mike Petriello on the impact of moving the fences in, over the last 5 years, the Royals on average would have hit 24 to 25 more home runs per season with the fences in. So that right there gets you to 183. And a full season of Jack Caglianone, a full season of Carter Jensen. 200 seems almost reasonable when you consider it from that point of view. Now, the record, like I said, it was 193. That was set back in 2017. That year, 7 guys hit 15 or more home runs for the Royals. But those 7 guys combined for 163, which means everybody else on the team hit 30 home runs combined. This year, I think we have 6
that
guys.
Team.
Sorry?
That team.
Yeah, well, it was Salvador Perez, Eric Hosmer, Whit Merrifield, Mike Moustakas, Lorenzo Cain, Jorge Bonifacio, would not have remembered that one, and Brandon Moss. All hit 15 or more, but everybody else combined hit 30. Now, last year the Royals had they had 15 home runs from only 4 guys. The main 4, obviously Salvi, Michael, Bobby, and Vinny. Nobody else on the team hit even 10. But I think you're going to see Cags and Carter Jensen give you an easy, 6 guys I think are going to hit 15 home runs. But I think the depth this year, in part because of the fences moving in, but like you look at second base, Jonathan India only hit 9 last year, but every year in Cincinnati, he hit between 10 and 21. Michael Massey only hit 3 last year. He hit 14 the year before that in like 100 games. Like with those are the 2 guys I think are going to benefit a lot from the fences moving in. So I could easily see 15 to 18 home runs from second base, just from second base, right? To get to 200, you need to average about 22 per position. And you're probably going to get 30 plus from first base and shortstop and catcher, maybe right field. I don't know if Mike Hill will get to 30, but I think he get to 25. So you add it all up, I'm putting my flag down. 200 home runs this year.
I like that. I will just comment and say that, I knew that was going to come off the board first. But the way I put it was the Royals will break the franchise record of 193 homers before September.
That's bolder and daringer.
Yeah. So you should have let me go first, Rany.
Yeah. Well, you're if you want to bid it up like you and I were bidding up Jonathan India's run totals last year, like an auction, go for it. Last year you predict 110 runs, and I'm like, no, 115. And it was 60.
So hold on. So you're saying like 45 home runs a month, which puts you, if they keep that pace, at 230, 240.
Mm-hmm. Wow. Let's be bold and daring. Do I think they're
that
really
is bold?
Do I think they're going to get to that number? No, I think they're going to get to like 210.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think it's going to be a wall scraper to break the record. Was my point. So I thought, okay, let's be bold and daring, because I agree with what Rany said. I think Massey's got a bigger number. India's got a bigger number. Jensen and Caglianone are all fresh numbers that are going to be thrown in there for the most part. I think Starling Marte will, make things better. I
think Kyle Isbell can hit 10 home runs with the fences moved in a little bit. He hits a lot of shots.
And Bobby hit 23, right? I think Bobby's capable of 40, right? So I that's where I go. I'll make a footnote that was my addendum to Rany's, and we'll see where it is. But I'm not going to do the team home run one. I knew that would come off number one. So congrats, Rany. You took the low hanging fruit. I hope you're proud of yourself.
There, I'm going to take it.
Yeah, as you should.
With that basic, I'm gonna my first choice is gonna be Bobby Witt Jr. plays good defense.
No, it's not. I know that.
It is not. I actually had a home run one that I think it just adds to it. So I'm going to make it my second. It's a little more player specific, but I think 2 Royals hit 40 or more home runs.
Ooh. Okay.
And this is, I'm cheating here because I'm turning this into 2 predictions, but it all go together.
Save it. I mean, if you
it'll all go together. I need to put it together. One of them will be Bobby Witt Jr., who will also steal 40 bases.
A Bobby 40-40. Okay.
So it's really a Bobby 40-40 prediction, but I think there's going to be another 40 home run guy other than him.
Okay. All right. You've got 2 in there. We'll see if you need to maneuver that around.
If I need to maneuver, I will, but I don't think I will because I've got one that you guys are going to hate. So,
okay. Well, then I'm just going to take this one. Bobby Witt Jr. wins the MVP. He is the 3rd favorite, but he's the 3rd favorite at like plus 500, which means the real odds are higher. It means he is 3rd, right? It's Judge, and then, or is he 2nd?
He might be 2nd.
He might be 2nd at like plus 350, which means the real odds are probably like 5 to 1, 6 to 1. But there's always the case of injury. But to call it an MVP shot, I think is bold enough. And Aaron Judge has owned that award. But I think Aaron Judge is ready to be hurt. And I think Bobby Witt Jr. and with his, Paul Skeens talking him up at the World Baseball Classic, I think he laid a great foundation. And Aaron Judge talking him up at the World Baseball Classic. I think he laid a great foundation.
He is 2nd
for getting his. What was it? What's the odds? You see it?
Let's see. I'm looking at this bettingpros.com that has all of them. The best he has, I think there's a plus 450 on FanDuel.
Okay, so upwards of 5 to 1.
Let me ask you this: are you willing to take that up a little? Because I had something similar. I'm not going to use it because it's almost identical. But what I had on my list was Bobby Witt will have the best season of his career so far. So let me ask you this: do you think Bobby Witt will have a better season than he did in 2024?
Ooh,
I think he's going to have. What did he hit? 32 home runs.
He had 32 home runs that year, but also won the batting title. He was worth 9.4 wins at Baseball Reference, and I think a 10.5 at Fangraphs.
10 something on Fangraphs. Yeah.
So will he have a better season?
I would allow that if you want to make that your next one.
I think I have a lot of other options. I don't want to get too similar, but to me, like that to me is like MVP is almost not bold and daring enough in a sense. I mean, it's just like the guy who finished second and fourth the last 2 years finishes first. But if you want to,
I'll go there.
The best season of his career, because he's going to be 26. Like, this is the age. This is the time. 27 used to be the peak age for players. It's come down a little bit because these guys, are ready sooner, and because fastballs are faster, it's harder to turn on a fastball as you get older. But he's 25 right now. He'll be 26 in June. Like, this is the year, if you want to say the year everything came together. His George Brett 1980, but with health, hopefully, with a full season. That to me would be the bold and daring prediction for Bobby Witt.
Yeah, I'll take that. I'll add it. I'll add it on. Note that you did it, and that's where we took it to.
I will also point out I had Bobby Witt as MVP, but with a caveat that he would have been unanimous if not for one New York voter voting for Aaron Judge. That was on my list, so
that's pretty good. All right, Rany, where do you want to go for your second choice?
Okay, my second one. The Royals will end the season with a top 10 farm system in all of baseball.
Oh, you need some.
So let me explain the argument here. Their number one prospect is Carter Jensen. He will obviously lose his rookie status probably by the end of April. But the next 7 guys on the list, if you look at MLB's top 30 prospects, which is publicly available, so anyone can look at it, the next guys 2 through 8, none of them have even played in Double-A yet. In fact, of their top 20 prospects, only 5 of them, Carter Jensen, and then Luinder Avila and Ben Kudrnar, I think, are 9 and 10. And then, I'm trying to remember the list now. There were 2 guys later on the list, who are like 13 and 17, and their top 20 prospects have even got to Double-A. Steven Zobak, I know, was one of them. And Carson Rocafort, I think, was the other one. So the point is, like, the Royals have a farm system just chock full of 18 and 19-year-old guys. We talked about Shields and Shuri, obviously, and Josh Hammond and Sean Gamble. And they're the number 6 overall pick in the draft this year. Like, there's no reason these guys are going to lose their eligibility. That's my point. Aside from Carter Jensen and Luinder Avila, I'm not sure anybody's losing their availability.
Carter Jensen is a big one.
Right. It's a big one, but he's the only one. And I think he's going to be replaced by that number 6 prospect. And also, this is kind of a bet that this is the year Brian Bridges, will have now 2 full drafts and a 3rd one in the summer to really strut his stuff and show what he's capable of. And also, they're beefed up, farm system development in Latin America. And obviously, Kendrick Churio is the crown jewel right now. But they've got a lot of other guys where that came from. From Freddie Contreras to Warren Calcano. There's a lot of names. Yandel Ricardo. And they were ranked, I think Keith Law had them like 21st, and he might have been high man on the totem pole in terms of where they rank in the top 30. Was he 21st
or 19th? I feel like he was.
Might have even 19th. You're right. He might have actually been in the top 20, but nobody else had them outside the bottom 10. But I think they're going to take a really big step forward. And I'm putting them, that's my flag, bold and daring, top 10 farm system in all of baseball.
Okay, I like it. I had it down. I had exactly the same thing, that they would move into the top 10 in the farm system. So
that's why I wanted to draft.
There's 2 of them that have knocked out my bold and daring. So well done, Rany. David, you'll get the last one before we take a quick break. What do you got here?
Which, for real quick, Keith Law was 19. I just looked it up.
Okay.
So I remember thinking, wow, top 20. He's the only one. My next one, and Soren, I sent you a list, and I've completely changed them since. Just FYI.
That's fine. And I will just delete the email, and we'll go with
what you can just delete. You can delete the last part. My prediction is the pitching staff, which had I need to look again. I'm going to make sure I have this right. The I believe 26th most strikeouts in baseball last year will have a top 10 strikeout staff in 2026, and I think Reagan's for a full year, Bubich for a full year, Urseg will bring it back. Strom gets strikeouts. My concern on this is Waka and Lugo. I'll be honest, but I think Cameron's going to strike out more guys, and I think Ryan Berger's going to pitch in the rotation more. So I think they will go from 26 to top 10 in strikeouts as a staff.
Ooh, I like that one. I think that's bold because Waka and Lugo, I don't think are ramping up big totals. So you're talking about a lot of people coming in. The Cole Reagan's part's big.
Well, I also think that I have another one that I'm saving in the chamber about maybe Rocco and or Luga. So so we'll see.
I like it. All right, we got more bold and daring predictions to get to here. It's one of our favorite episodes of the year. We will do it after you hear from our friends at Gann Asphalt and Concrete. Gann Asphalt and Concrete is looking to grow their team. If you have heavy construction foreman experience with heavy equipment, asphalt or concrete labor, or just want to learn a new trade, contact Gann Asphalt and Concrete to join their team today. Top of the market pay, company provided insurance, and paid time off and holiday pay are just a few of the great reasons to join Gann's expanding team. Learn more about this great opportunity with Gann at GannAsphalt.com/careers. That's GannAsphalt.com/careers. Gann Asphalt and Concrete. One contractor, all things parking lots. Northland Injury Law, Kansas City's Google 5-star rated personal injury lawyers, serving KC for more than 40 years, voted Kansas City's #1 accident lawyers, helping people with serious injuries from car accidents, work accidents, falls, and other personal injuries. Northland Injury Law doesn't get paid unless they get money for their client. Don't wait, get compensated now. If you have a case, text HURT to 22222. That's HURT to 22222, or call 816-400-HURT. That's 816-400-4878. The choice of a lawyer is an important one and should not be based solely upon advertisements.
Green Light Dispensary, voted Kansas City's best dispensary and your go-to for quick, convenient service. With 4 locations across the Kansas City area, we're never far away. Our drive-through and express windows make it easy to get in, get out, and get on with your day. Our award-winning service is powered by a team of experts dedicated to making your experience seamless and enjoyable. It's no wonder we've been voted the best. Convenient locations, fast service, knowledgeable staff. That's the Green Light difference. Visit us today.
All right, let's keep it going here. We are to my second one, and I feel like this is weird because I don't have them. I had them stacked based upon what was most important, but now I feel like I've got to adjust based upon beating Rany to punches.
Yeah.
To punches. And so I don't know that I wanted this and I've got 2 that I really want to do, and I think whichever one I do, Rany's going to do the other one. I have a feeling that that's coming. So, but I am going to go with, because he's already said it, I'm going to go with Michael Garcia becomes the 4th Royal to score 125 plus runs in a season. 136 by Johnny Damon is the record. 133 by Willie Wilson, and Bobby Wood Jr. a couple years ago had 125. Put that in your pipe and smoke it, Rany.
I'm impressed. I was not going to go there. I'll tell you why. Actually, my next one is actually kind of contradicts yours, and I'll explain.
Okay.
Because you're assuming that Michael Garcia is going to score because he's going to be at the top of a very, very productive lineup.
Uh-huh.
But my next one is this. By September, the leadoff hitter for the Kansas City Royals will be Carter Jensen.
Okay.
This has been a question mark for the team, like all offseason, really, even going back to last offseason. Who leads off? Who's the best leadoff hitter on this team? And yeah, Michael Garcia is a great hitter and is very solid in that role. But I don't like starting off with 2 right-handed hitters, especially because it moves too many lefties together at the bottom of the lineup. But every time, they look at a left-handed hitter, Isaac Collins, they brought him in, and it's like, well, this guy's a switch hitter. He could fit that role. But as we've talked about on the last episode, like, I'm not certain he's just going to be a good enough hitter that you really want him getting the most at bats on your team. He seems like more of a bottom of the lineup guy. Who can fit that role? Well, yeah, it's unconventional. Have a catcher in the leadoff spot, but it's been done before. And Carter Jensen has probably the best plate discipline on the team. He has a lot of pop, but like, if he's running 360 OBP and he's left-handed, and he's not, he's a catcher, but he's a young catcher. He's not like he's Salvador Perez where he's so slow that he's going to take triples away from Bobby Witt because he's stuck at third base when Bobby's rounding second or whatever. Like, he can score from first on a double. And I think having him leading off and then Bobby Witt batting second and then Vinny third, like, I think it just makes the lineup flow. And I think Matt Quatrero is willing to think outside the box enough that once Carter Jensen establishes himself as one of the 4 or 5 best hitters on this team, Quintera's going to look at this lineup and be like, you know what, Carter Jensen leading off makes a lot of sense, and we're going to go into the playoffs with that as his role.
I won't be shocked. We've seen Rizzo bat lead off. Like the world has come around to that approach, so that wouldn't that's not completely out of left field. Two reactions to it. One, good, unless David screws me. I got my other one eye on you, so that makes me happy because that was not where I was going to go. And two, just how nice it is to be talking about a quantity of quality hitters. This is bold and daring. There's no doubt, but we're not. You're not trying to fit Juan Bonifacio into it. You're talking about a guy who's a big time prospect into the mix. So I think that's enjoyable. All right, very good. So by September, the leadoff hitter for the Kansas City Royals will be Carter Jensen. Okay, for you, David, where do you go next?
Well, real quick, I want to point out they averaged 11 runs per game with Jensen leading off last year in 2 games. Now 20 were in 1 game and 2 were
big sample,
but they averaged 11 runs per game. So I love the idea.
Yeah, 11 per game. That would have them scoring upwards of 2,000 runs.
They would get their 100 more than last year by the break. Well before the break, actually. So there's my bold prediction.
So this is neither bold nor daring. Randy's just taking the chance.
No, it's ridiculous. I'm gonna let you have yours because there's no way you have this one because I made it very specific. Okay. At the deadline, the Royals acquire James Wood. It takes Kendry Chorio and
Plus.
But I think that they're going to get to the break in a great position and say we need another absolute monster. And James, I think he's going to turn. I think he's going to turn that corner, get the ball off the ground more, and they're going to go out and make a blockbuster deal for it was 23 this year.
Mm-hmm.
Blockbuster trade. The Nationals are blowing it up. That's my bold prediction.
Wow.
But it's bold. I love the idea. Obviously Kendry would be a tough one, but I mean, Wood is, like you said, he's 23. You've got him club control for 5 years, counting this year.
Mm-hmm.
It's like the player I've been looking at on the Nationals that I was interested in that I thought could be a fit was CJ Abrams, actually. If he moved to second base. Because they've already traded Mackenzie Gore and they're gonna have to blow things up. And those guys, I think CJ has only got 2 years left.
Well, this year and next year, I think. So
right.
Yeah,
so the price would be more
at
reasonable.
the deadline, 1.5 years.
Right, exactly. So the price would be more reasonable. But I mean, they need an outfielder. They need a James Wood type. I agree. And you have James Wood.
I will say I originally toyed with Chorio, Mitchell, and not nobody and something else with Wood and CJ Abrams, which I couldn't go that bold.
When was the last time baseball had 2 premium everyday players? I mean, do you have to go back to like Fred McGriff and Joe Carter and Robbie Alomar for Fred McGriff?
What was the Nationals trade a couple years ago with the Dodgers where they traded?
Oh, it was Turner and Scherzer.
Was it Turner and Scherzer? Yeah, that's what it was. Turner and Max Scherzer. I'm trying to remember because the Dodgers gave up a ton, but in the end, I think it was a sort of trade where the prospects are great, but they could live with it.
The Dodgers also never give up anything because they're always overrated. It's driving me crazy.
Josiah Gray, and Kybert Ruiz, and 2 guys who have yet to make it to the major leagues, and that was 5 years ago. So, I mean, at the time, it looked like a massive deal, but it worked out wonderfully for the Dodgers. So, I mean, Blake Mitchell is the obvious guy that gets moved in any deal, right? This July. Kendry would take. It would have to take a James Wood type.
It would be a guy with 5 years of control. I think. I don't think you're trading him for Taylor Ward at the deadline. I know you're not trading him for Taylor Ward at the deadline, but
Yeah. Okay. All right. All right. Then back to me for number 3, and I get my one. I got to find where it is. Here it is. Copy paste. Put it into the pick. Make it official. The card is in. Cole Reagan sets a new single season strikeout record for the Kansas City Royals. I can't believe you weren't on this, Randy.
That's so passe, Soren. I was picking that years ago. No. So, I mean, if healthy, right, he was, you already set the record for lefties for the franchise, and I think was 3rd in Royals history 2 years ago.
Is it 244? Dennis Leonard, right?
I think it's 244 by Dennis Leonard, and then Zach Greinke was at 242, and then Cole in 2024, he got up to like 220 something. I want to say
something like that,
223. So yeah, I mean, to me, it's just a matter of health. Will he throw enough innings to get to 244 strikeouts? Because they only threw 186 2 years ago, coming off of 62 innings last year. He needs 190 innings, right? He needs to make 33 starts ideally.
Does he though, to get to 245?
I think he probably would. I think if he's clicking along at the rate he was, I think there's a limit if you're gonna. I don't know that you can maintain 16 Ks per nine.
Yeah, exactly.
You know,
the starting pitcher, if he throws 190 innings, he would have to average 11.6 strikeouts per nine to get to 245 and break the record. 11.6, even in the modern era, that's close to the limit for a starting pitcher.
Yeah.
You know? So
I would just worry about it
fair.
blowing out if he's averaging much more than that.
Well, yeah,
Sure.
that too. So it's bold and daring, and I hope he gets there. But
yeah,
if he does, I'll just say, hey, I picked it first. So
look, not at the right time. Did you have it on your list?
Not this year, no. I just felt like I'm just worried about how many innings is he going to throw. That's really
Right.
If he throws 170, like it would just take his absolutely historic strikeout rate to get there, and 170 would be fine. So.
Okay. All right. Well, we've got 10 of these. And so you this is number 10 with your fourth one. Where are you going to go here, Rany? We got 15 of them, excuse me. 10. This will be the 10th one that we've done. This is your fourth one, Rany. Where are you going?
So I appreciate you guys leaving this for me. It's sort of obvious because I've already said this in the past, but I want to make it official now. The bold and daring prediction: the Kansas City Royals, for the first time since 1989, will finish in the top half of the American League in walks drawn. Somebody wasn't happy with that pick. Look, it's been a long time coming. They were still dead last in the American League in walks drawn last year, but it's coming together, guys. Carter Jensen is a very patient hitter. He's going to be in the lineup every day. Jack Caglianone is showing off newfound patience in the World Baseball Classic. I think that was a great for his development to just get out of his head and out of the stat sheet and just worry about winning games on a big stage. And he seemed like just a more complete hitter. His approach. I mean, he hit a home run in the tournament, just by accident, right? Because he has that kind of power. But he just looked like a complete hitter. I think he's going to take some walks. Obviously, you've got Connor Dawson coming in and preaching the mantra. And yeah, I just think that this is going to be the year. Jonathan India, will hopefully be healthy and play full season. I think there's Isaac Collins. I think there's just multiple guys here who have above average walk rates. And when I talk about the story of the season, when I talked about that on the last podcast being the offense, some of it's going to be home runs, but I think a lot of it's just going to be, this is a different looking offense. The Royals have never had an offense like this before because they're hitting bombs and they're taking walks. Something even when they were winning World Series, they were not doing either of those things. So that's my fourth pick.
Yeah, you mean they're playing a modern style of baseball?
I don't like to use that term only because modern implies that what they were doing before was archaic and didn't work. And it did work in 2014 and 2015 somehow. But yes, it's a 21st century approach to offense.
It did and it didn't, though, because I really feel like one of the things that in 2014, in 13, they'd made their little run, kind of gotten into it at the end and had everybody excited and the crowds were going out. And then in 14, they disappointed really for half the year. Then they caught fire and got there. And they got there in 15 with their best team. In 16 and 17, they fell short. And I said during 14, I don't know if they're going to get there. But if they get there, they're going to be hell on wheels. They're going to be a tough out because they do the things you need to do in the playoffs. I know you said that they had success, but really they had a window of 5 years and they made the playoffs twice, right? And and this is true of almost every run. They were they really just rolled in 14, but in 15, they were a tip ball by the pitcher to Carlos
Correa.
Carlos Correa that would have ended it right there. And how differently would we have looked at it? Or just not coming back against the A's in the wild card game. After the wild card game, they steamrolled in 14. And we would have looked at it. If they lose to the A's in the wild card game and they don't get by the Astros,
It's
that
incredible the arc of this franchise. Those two plays. Gerard Dyson slips on his way to third base, and then Carlos Correa fields that ground ball.
Yeah, and I think if that's the case, we look back at it and we talk about how bad how they didn't draw walks. They didn't like that erased what was a fundamental problem. They were good enough to go to the playoffs and do damage for 5 years. They only made it twice. But when they got there, the bat on ball, eliminating the guys.
What I will say is it didn't work in 24. I was thinking more regular season. It really didn't work in 2014 because they were like below average in runs scored and barely made the playoffs. But in 2015, they had the best record in the American League during the regular season. But that team is, statistically speaking, as a case to be made as the greatest contact hitting team in the history of the sport. Every other team in the American League struck out at least 1,150 times. The Royals struck out 973. It just an unbelievable gap. And with all that, they had the sixth highest run scored in the American League. They had a good offense. It wasn't a great offense.
Yeah.
So you could throw that on here, not just the walks and the home runs that I've already made predictions. But if I'm right about both of those things, if they hit 200 homers with an above average walk rate, they're going to have one of the best offenses just in terms of runs scored in Royals history.
Yeah. Jeff Passan's already predicted top 10 offense for the Royals this year. And I think it really looks like that. I think we all agree that that's what it looks like, where it's going. All right. We still got more bold and daring predictions to make. We'll do it right after you hear from our friends at Whataburger.
Now at Whataburger, you can get the new Big Ranch Wrap for $3, 5 premium Whata chicken bites for $4, or a bacon cheese Whataburger Jr. for $5. Add fries and a drink for a little more. Now that's a Whata deal at Whataburger. Download the app.
Concrete season is in full swing and asphalt paving is revving up. So right now is the time to get your property on the schedule with Gann Asphalt and Concrete. Whether you need new concrete work, a parking lot repaved, crack filling, seal coating, or full asphalt installation, their experienced crews handle it all right here in Kansas City. Don't wait until the rush hits. Call today for a free bid and secure your spot before the calendar fills up. Get the process started right now at GannAsphalt.com. That's GannAsphalt.com. Gann Asphalt and Concrete. One contractor, all things parking lots. All right, let's see. We left off with Rany. That means we're ready for the fourth bold and daring prediction from one David Lesky. David, where will you go?
I'm still mad. Mine wasn't exactly the same, but it was that they were going to have the fifth 9% walk rate in franchise history, which would have put them top 10, actually top 7 last year, I think it was.
Okay.
So I'm going to shift, and this is another positive one. I do have a negative that I'm holding if I need to. I think that they will be a top 5 base running team in baseball. And by that, I mean the base running run stat on Fangraphs specifically, when they were one of the worst teams in baseball last year to start the season. But with that, I think they're going to steal 150 bases. I think they're going to run a lot more. Garcia and Witt are probably going to get more than half of those. I think I already said Witt's a 40-40.
What were you using top 5 in what?
In the base running run stat on Fangraphs, where they were, I believe, top 7 in 23 and 24. I think last year was an aberration. I think that they've got good, smart baseball players. They do have a couple unathletic plotters. I will not name names and embarrass Vinny Pasquantino or Salvador Perez because that's rude of me. But other than those two, I think most of the guys can move. I think they're going to be a legitimately good base running team because they were before. I think last year's base running issues were all about pressing offensively, and they won't need to press offensively this year.
Okay. I like that. I can go there. All right. My next one is going to be something that I kind of mentioned in our last show, and that is that Nick Lofton stays in the big leagues all season and establishes himself as a legit big leaguer. Is that fair, or do you want me to pick another one since I kind of referenced that with our last show?
I think it's bold enough because I don't agree with it. So I think it's bold enough.
Rany, you okay with it? Or you want me to do
when you say establish, it doesn't have to be an everyday player, but he's going to get, I think you used the Bill
300 plus
Pecota
at bats.
comp. Yeah, the Bill Pecota comp
down?
is good. At least a super utility guy. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, I can agree with that.
I'll put super utility, something like 300 at bats plus. He's not just going to be like sitting around he's not going to be the team mascot. I think he's going to be a contributor. I think he's going to play, and I think he's going to do a solid job. And I think he'll establish himself as a legit big leaguer. So I'll take that as my fourth one. Randy, you can only have one more, although we'll have, what just missed the cut coming up here in a little bit. But where are you going with your next one?
So I'm going to make a Jack Caglianone specific prediction here. But I feel like talking about his power is not bold and daring enough. So I'm actually going to go in a different direction. I'm going to say that Jack Caglianone is going to, who had a 237 OBP last year, is going to finish with an OBP more than 100 points higher, 340 or higher OBP this year. I just feel like, the batting average makes you think of him as this, like, all or nothing, Rob Deere, Joey Gallo type swinger. But when in fact his contact rates are excellent, and that's what's always made him unique, is that for a guy with incredible power, his strikeout rate is actually quite low. Even in the majors, even while hitting 152 last year, his strikeout rate was like 22%, which
21,
which is basically major league average. He was a very high average hitter in the minors with a very low strikeout rate. Again, he performed really well in the World Baseball Classic in a small sample size here in spring training. It's not that he's hitting 300. He's got a 462 OBP with more walks than strikeouts. Like, it does seem like he might be adapting a new approach. And the raw skills are just there, right? And if he hits the bombs that I think he will, pitchers are going to be afraid to throw strikes to him.
Agreed.
So I think you're going to see some walks naturally. So I think he is going to be an OBP, an above average league, above league average OBP, 340 or higher OBP this year. And really, I could have easily said, he's going to slug 500 or 30 bombs or whatever, but I feel like that's not that bold and daring. But if you put it all together, I think he's going to be a very valuable player this year.
I like it. I like that one a lot. And I think there's good logic behind it. All right, David, for your last one.
My last one is Carlos Estevez does not lead the team in saves. Lucas Urseg does not lead the team in saves. Luinder Avila does. I think that, and it's kind of contradicts what I said last episode, so take it with a grain of salt. But we're being bold, right?
Yep.
I think Estevez is going to have some struggles this year. I think he's going to lose the job. Whatever. I think Urseg, two things. One, I think Petro really likes him in that fireman role, and two, I think he has a back issue, and that concerns me. I could see him being excellent when he's on the active roster, but having a couple IL stints. I mean, backs don't magically get better. They just don't. And so I think in the end of the year, it's not going to be a huge number, but I think Luinder Avila saves than anybody on the roster.
I like that one a lot. The saves one, like I had one similar to that. I had Luinder Avila and or Mason Black emerge as major weapons out of the bullpen. Which I'm going to toss to the side now that you've covered Luinder Avila. But I do want to mention, I think Mason Black, his role for the Royals may be in relief. He has not given up a run in the spring. I know it's the spring, but
he's been good.
He's been dominant in the spring, and in short stints. To me, it was almost like they wanted to see what he could do as a reliever. Now they're going to go send him back to, like, all right, work on your pitches. We want, we'll throw you as a starter to make sure that you've got more time to craft all your pitches. But I think in the back of their head, they're like, this is a weapon out of the pen. I think that's why they got him. I think that's always been the idea. He'll be depth from a rotation standpoint, but I think his skill set is going to be as a closer. So I'll add that into this one. Randy, your reaction to the Luinder Avila?
I think Luinder Avila, his stock is very high. I loved what I saw from him in the WBC. I like him a lot. I don't want to say I'm frustrated the Royals are sending him back to AAA. I get that. If anything, it's almost a positive leading indicator in the sense that they want to try him as a starter. Petro said something about, like, I don't know why he can't be a dominant starting pitcher. Like, they like him a lot. They like him so much that they don't want to limit him as a reliever. But I just feel like you can have your cake and eat it too, and you can develop a guy as a dominant reliever now and not forego the possibility of using him in a rotation later. And I think by midseason he's going to be in the majors in one way or the other. So yeah. Like if there's some flux in that closer role in the first half, and he comes up and he takes over that role in August, he very well could. You could end up with like three guys that have like double-digit saves on this team.
Right. Yeah. In my head, it's like Estevez has 12, Ursig has 14, and Avila's got 17 or something like that. It's not a huge gap, but I think he leads the team.
Oh.
Yeah, I think that's fair. All right. So I've got one more. I got a lot on the board that I like. Caglianone kind of got covered. That kind of got covered with one of David's. All right, I'm going to go with this. The Royals will announce their stadium location as the Washington Square Park location, and the fan base will genuinely like what they see out of the plans. Right? We've been waiting a long time. Nobody really liked the renderings. Like, I think a lot of people like the Crossroads area. I still think that was a cool area with the green space leading up to it, which as I understand it is now a go for that green space to cover the, I call it the trough, where the loop comes down and drops down underneath everything. That they're going to cover that up with green space. I think that's going to be great for the city, by the way. But I've talked with some folks. I know they wanted to get something out there before spring training. And at that time I was told, if not, then they definitely want it before they come home. I now don't think that that's necessarily going to happen because we're, very close to that day being. That would mean this week. So if it does happen, that's what I was told a while ago, that they want to get it out there. But one of the things I was told a while ago is if they go with the Washington Square Park location, there's going to be some really cool stuff. Now, is that incorporating the train station? Is there going to be a train that rolls through? I don't know. I know the railroad part of it is a major concern for how to construct the stadium, because just, you need not just where you're building, but you need area around it to construct things. And then there's all these major rules about getting something too close to where trains are going. So it is a difficult location, but I trust what I was told, that they said, if that's it, there's some really cool stuff with it. So, and I think that is where the heart of John Sherman has been in somewhere in a downtown location. So I think we're going to finally get it. I think it's going to be Washington Square Park. And I think people are going to because the folks I was talking to are the people that would know what's cool and what's not. And I think we're going to get something that's going to be really cool and will be universally celebrated as, okay, we've really got it all figured out stadium-wise. Dome to get events going over on the Kansas side with the Chiefs, and now a great ballpark integrated into the downtown. I think they're going to announce it, and it will be to great fanfare when they do it. Is that bold enough?
The fanfare part's the boldest.
Exactly. I like this
everybody
a lot.
Liking something.
But I would say this shouldn't be a bold and daring prediction. But like anything involving the Royals actually coming with a ballpark has been bold and daring. But I do like the fact that you're basically saying the worth will be the wait will have been worth
yes.
it. And I agree. I think I have this feeling that they finally figured, they've exhausted all the bad ideas and finally come around to a good one, because none of the bad ideas could get traction, including on the ballot. I don't know why it took them this long, but I just really hope they don't F this up, because the opportunity is there for them to do exactly what you're saying. I think at this point, that location is, everyone seems to agree that's the right spot to put it. It's feasible. And like you said, you could come up with an awesome plan. You have the architecture firms in town who have been waiting for decades to build the crown jewel of their, portfolio in Kansas City. How do you screw this up? To this point, they have, but I share your optimism that they'll get this right.
Yeah, I hope so.
I will say, if they don't do this, next year's bold prediction is the Royals will play in a stadium in 2032. That's the bold prediction.
All right. What did you have one left over that you wish you could have got in, Rany?
I mean, I had a couple here. I mean, I kind of covered. I mean, the one I covered last week, which is that Ryan Berger will be a top 3 starter on this team by August. He will be in the playoff rotation. I'll put that out there as a freebie. He'll be in the playoff rotation. And then the really obvious one we didn't cover is the Royals will win the American League Central. We're already I'm predicting 89 wins, but I think the upside for this team, you guys talked about it last week, 95. Yeah, I mean, if everything goes right, they stay healthy, Caglianone and Jensen hit the way we think they're capable of, I think a win total in the 90s is absolutely feasible, and it's going to be a dogfight with them and the Tigers, but they absolutely can win this division.
David, do you have any that got left off the board for you?
Yeah, I mean, I sort of had one that was Waka or Lugo is out of the rotation by midseason, which would pave the when it could be injury, could be ineffectiveness. I'm really worried about Michael Waka. I'll be honest. He's the guy who honestly concerns me the most out of the 5 starters going forward. Which he had a decent year, he had a good year last year, but the lack of swing and miss just really scares me with him.
Have you seen anything in spring
changeup
training that makes you nervous at all? Like
the changeup hasn't been as good, and that's his changeup, and that's his
Yeah.
bread and butter, And if he doesn't have that, I mean, I'm not saying he can't figure it out, but I'm concerned about him. But I think that one of those two, the bold prediction is one of those two is out of the rotation by the All-Star break, and
Okay.
The other one that I was toying with is, and I sent this to you and I hated it, is Cag spends time in AAA, but is the best hitter on the team in September.
Okay.
Which, because sometimes when guys start to adjust their approach, they struggle with it, and it takes them a little time, and they need a little time out of the spotlight, which is interesting because he did well in the spotlight in the WBC, but they need a little bit of time to kind of merge the two approach, the power and the patience. And so in my head, it was he's gonna spend 60 days in AAA, but by September he's the best hitter on the team.
Do I need to ask you to clarify best hitter on the team in September for Omaha or
for the Royals?
Royals.
For
Okay.
the Royals.
Okay.
Yeah.
I had
them to a playoff run.
I had 2 that I would like to have gotten in here somehow, and that was Matt Quachero wins Manager of the Year, which I think he's been worthy of winning each of the last.
It's sad that that's bold, by the way.
Yeah,
It shouldn't be,
but it clearly is based upon where he got no thought last year. So
I think that goes hand in hand with them winning the division. I think
Yes,
that will open it up for him.
Agreed. And Vinny has 40+ homers, which I don't think is something he is striving for, but I think he could just stay within his stroke and the fences could get him there. And so that was one that I would like to have worked in there.
I thought about putting Vinny will drive in 130 runs, but after my debacle with the Jonathan India runs total last year, I decided to stay away from that category.
So that was it. No more.
Yeah.
No more of that one. All right. Then tell me, what'd you learn, Rany? Anything? Any lesson come away on this one?
I mean, I think kind of what we talked about last week is just the depth of the team. There is a lot, there's a few areas, the outfield still makes me nervous, but man, if they have they don't even have to have an average outfield. If they have, because they were dead last in the majors last year in terms of outfield quality. If they're like 20th in outfield production this year, they're a 90-win team. Like, it's just the infield might be the best in baseball. On the left side definitely is. When you throw in, Carter Jensen into that equation and, count catcher, it's just, any production from second base. That's one of the best infields in baseball. And the pitching staff, again, top end might be a little down compared to the last couple of years, but the depth, it's going to be a very rare day. Something will have to have gone very wrong for them to put a starting pitcher on the mound who doesn't really belong, is like a number 6 starter. They have too many guys who are at least number 5 starters in the major leagues. They should never go into a game just being like, we need a prayer tonight to win this game because of our starting pitcher.
David, anything you learned in going through this exercise?
Yeah, I mean, I think when you do bold predictions, you try to naturally you lean positive, bold, right? I mean, we're not like, oh, Bobby Witt Jr. is going to break his leg on opening day, things like that.
Right.
Those aren't the things. But at the same time, you try to balance it a little bit. It was hard to find negative bold for me. And it goes back to what we talked about that last time. The floor is high with this team. And so it is to go really negative bold. Like the most negative I had, Waka out of the rotation. Okay, that happens. Cags in AAA, but is the best hitter in September was my bold. Like the negative on that was even a positive, because I think that there is just so much upside, and the downside with this team outside of injury is it's there, but it's harder to find than it has been in a long time.
We talked about last week depth being the story, and that's what Rany kind of hit on here. But I'll say this one, the bold and daring, highlighted the quality, because there was a time if you said so and so hit 30 home runs, you'd be like, it's blasphemous. Well, there's a number of guys that can hit 30 home runs on this team, right? Now you've got to push towards 40. You got to push towards, this team will, actually take a walk. Well, now we've got to get to top 10. Like, there's real progress. Like, to me, I saw the progress in the talent level of the team based upon how bold the predictions had to get, right, to be bold. Because, like, I actually thought on my Cole Reagan's strikeout one, which mostly was just to get to it before Rany, but I'm like, he's already third. You know, I'm not taking a guy that's, I was like, last year I like Chris Bubich sets the Royals single season record for lowest walks per 9, right? Like, that was pretty, I like that one. He didn't really come close to it. And he got hurt, of course, but you know, it does speak to the level of, like, we're talking about record setting performances for this team is where you have to go to be bold. And I think that speaks to the incredible job they've done of turning over the talent. I think that's been really impressive.
Well, I think what it comes down to is they have the depth. They have a high floor because of the depth, and then they have Bobby Witt Jr.
Yeah.
And so no matter what your floor is, then you add in like the highest ceiling player in the sport, arguably, right? It's like, that's a nice combination that they have the depth, and yet they have not just star, but like superstar, talent to fit into, to fill it in. And that's incredible.
He's the best. He's the best overall position player in baseball.
Best all around, yeah. I mean, I heard somebody say he's the best player in baseball. He's not, because not yet. He might be, but Shohei Ohtani is that. I mean, it's period. Sorry. If you want to just say the position player part, okay, he's the best all-around player for sure.
Yeah.
Aaron Judge and Shohei Ohtani hitting 50, 60 home runs it's pretty impressive. Cal Raleigh's pretty good too. But Bobby Witt Jr. is in that group. He huddles up with those guys, and that's impressive. It's good enough. We don't have to, like, he's so good, we don't have to have hyperbole. We can just live with what reality is. Reality is incredible.
Right. And he's surrounded, like you said, Michael Garcia, the step forward he took last year, it's hard to, overstate how important that is. He's kind of like a poor man's Bobby Witt, right? He's not a shortstop, but he's a third baseman, win the Gold Glove. He didn't hit 320, but he hit 290 and hit 15 home runs instead of 25. But like the overall package is a hell of a player. It's like what's tied for 5th in the American League in WAR with like Jose Ramirez. Like, I mean, batted even before he won the MVP of the World Baseball Classic. The fact that he was batting second, a lot of people at the beginning of the tournament was like, "What's going on? Well, how is Michael Garcia, this batting second in this powerful Venezuela lineup?" And then he proved himself to be the best hitter on the team. And it's like, yeah, he belongs. Right. Yeah. Vinny obviously belongs. And then in past years, we'd have like one top rookie hitter that you're really hoping is going to come through. Okay, Cags isn't a rookie per se, but like this year, the Royals have two, right? Two guys who, combined offered very little, in terms of production at the major league level last year, who you're banking on. If even one of them comes through, it's a huge step forward, right? Like you don't have to rely on one guy. You have potentially two. So again, just top to bottom, the high end talent and the bottom end talent on this team are as good as they've been in 10 years.
The floor is high and the ceiling is astronomically high. That's a good place to be in, I would say. Listen, you can always support the Kauffman Corner podcast by supporting our great sponsors, like Gann Asphalt and Concrete. Concrete season's underway. Asphalt season has just kicked off. Call Gann Asphalt and Concrete now to get your bid and secure your spot before the April rush. Parking lots to curbs, they handle it all. Asphalt and concrete work with quality you can trust. Get your bid started today at GannAsphalt.com. By our friends at Northland Injury Law. If you've been hurt in an accident, text HURT to 22222 or call 816-400-HURT, voted Kansas City's #1 accident lawyers. Greenlight Dispensary, 15 locations in Missouri, more on the way. Greenlight, your go-to for all your cannabis needs. Tell them you heard about it right here on the Kauffman Corner podcast. And our friends at Whataburger, open 24 hours a day, serving breakfast, one of my favorite things, at Whataburger, 11P to 11A. And for a limited time, I get the What a Catch fish sandwich or the What a Catch dinner, only at Whataburger. David Lesky and I, we'd like to say thanks, Rany, for stopping by. We look forward to when you'll
for having me.
Join us again. It's always great to have you for the predictions. We'll certainly have you back when we review them. Hopefully we'll have you a time or two in season to talk some more baseball. So for David Lesky from Inside the Crown, the great Rany Jazayerli, I'm Soren Petro saying thank you very much for joining us here